When I went to China to research the first of the China thrillers, The Firemaker, I was taken under the wing of a gentleman who was widely regarded as the most famous police officer in China. His name was Wu Herping, and he had recently solved a very famous case in which 4 thieves had been stealing precious artifacts from museums around China and smuggling them out of the country. Now, as a reward for solving this crime, he'd been promoted to the head of the propaganda unit of the Ministry of Public Security. The Chinese have a slightly different view of the word propaganda from the interpretation that we might put on it. The propaganda department, effectively what they do is they make TV shows and movies. For example, they would make the Chinese equivalent of CSI, CSI New York, CSI Miami, CSI Beijing, on the basis that they are feeding a diet of entertainment to the population, which underlines the morality of what's right and what's wrong. And of course the police are always right and the crooks are always wrong. So he'd taken over this department, and I was shepherded towards him, and he decided he was going to help me. So one of the first things he did was hold a banquet in my honour, and at the banquet it was one of those huge big banqueting tables with about 30 people seated around it. We had an interpreter because nobody else spoke English, and I was being told the story about Wu Herping and how he had caught these criminals, and that when he was promoted to the head of the propaganda unit, the first thing he had done was make an 8-hour drama documentary series based on his investigation. Now, the interesting thing about this is that he wrote it himself, he produced it himself, and he starred in it as himself. And you can imagine how famous that made him, because in China the average nightly TV audience is 500 million people. So his face was beamed all around China. It was known everywhere. And I hadn't heard anything like this before, and the interpreter was passing on to us all the information coming from all the people around the table, and one of them pointed out that not only had Wu Herping played himself in this drama series, that the 4 criminals had also played themselves. And I was kind of knocked back by this revelation, and these guys, came in front of a film crew and played the part of the criminals that they were. And they said, well, no. What happened was that during the actual original investigation, they shot a lot of video footage, and what they did was cut this video footage into the drama footage that they shot later. I said, right. And they said, of course, they got actors in to play them after they had been executed. I thought, yes, this is a guy to keep in with. And I did, fortunately. At that very same banquet, endeavouring to keep in with them, I forced myself to eat something that I can only describe as absolutely repulsive, and that was whole deep-fried scorpion. This was his favourite dish. It was brought to the table, and as guest of honour I was expected to try it. I didn't see any way out of it, and as this was a man who brought people to execution, I wasn't about to cross him. So I got my chopsticks and I picked up my deep-fried whole scorpion, popped it in my mouth, crunch, horrible, washed down quickly with beer. My wife, who was sitting on my left, considered that because she was not the guest of honour, she could politely decline. And the interpreter, who was sitting next to her, said, "Yes, you're quite right. They're disgusting." And I'm here to tell you that they are. But on the subject of food, I'd like to show you another short clip, so about 1.5 minutes. There's a character in all the China thrillers who makes street pancakes called Jan Bing. Now, you see these all over Beijing. They're little trolleys that sit on the back of bicycles with a hot plate and a little gas bottle, and they make these crepes, pancakes filled with lovely savoury stuff. And one of the characters in my book, Mei Yuan, exchanges riddles on a regular basis with my hero cop, Li Yan. And they meet every morning as he has a janbing that she has prepared for him. They are the most delicious things that you're ever likely to come across, and they cost cents, next to nothing. And I went one day and took a film of a lady making one, and it'll make your mouth water to watch it. Here it is.